Are we live? We're live. Okay, cool. Who's this man? I love you too, Dickie. I love you too. I don't know you. Do you need a hug? I've never met you. Do you need a hug? Okay. Hi everyone. I'm Nathan. I'm the program director this year. Helping out Ben since he needed a bunch of help last year. So, lightning talks. Lightning talks. I was informed about 2 minutes ago that they usually set up like a sign-up sheet and have people sign up for lightning talks.
Maybe next year.
So maybe we'll do that next year. Question? Oh, okay. Yeah. So my first question. We have about an hour here, right? We have a talk after this. So how many people want to do a lightning talk? Just raise your hand.
Wait, I'm new, so like...
You want to do a lightning talk? I mean, that gym was good. You could do a lightning talk about that gym.
Explain the rules.
Explain the rules. All right, sorry. Good idea. Yeah, so lightning talk. Basically, we'll do like probably 5 to 7 minutes of like free form. Like you can talk about projects that you've worked on, something that you thought was cool. What's that? In a haiku, yeah. Don't take the whole time figuring out your haiku. That might be a little boring, but just if you have something that you want to talk about in front of this group of people that you didn't have, an hour or a half hour worth of content, but you have 5 to 7 minutes worth of content, you come up here and do that. Sound good? These guys are going to start us off. I saw a raise of hands of about, 5 people or so. So I don't know, we'll probably go 7-10 minutes per person, whatever. We have an hour to fill. So yes, question.
How do I go up there?
Line up over there.
Drink some more drink.
Mr. Program Director, I have a suggestion to make this go smooth.
Sure.
If you're going to have 5 follow on, go ahead and assign your number 2, your number 3, your number 4.
That's a good idea,
That way
sir.
the rotation.
I didn't think
He's trying to take your job.
Yeah. Maybe next year you can be up here. Wow. Yes. Hello, Dickie.
Nathan is a ding dong. He is a big stinky butt.
I'm glad that you can count.
My name is.
All right. So these guys got number 1. Who wants to go after? Anybody want to go after?
Yeah.
Strict. Number 2 over here. All right. 3. I know, but we're changing it up. Look, you're the one that gave me the gen. Okay, this is your fault. This is partially your fault. You can go. You can be number 3. No. We'll just count off. Sorry. Yes, Ben. You'll do 1. Okay, Ben, number 4.
Number 5.
You're number 2.
No, I'm both.
Oh, you're number 5 as well? Okay.
What am
I thought you were 3.
Oh, okay.
All right. So we're up to 5. Who else has a talk? Who wants to be number 6? Number 6 over here. Who wants to be number 7? Is that your 7? All right, 7. We got 7 over here. Who else? All right, that'll start us off. Good to go. Remember your number. You're in order. We're not going to change this up. Don't count like Dickie back there because he can't count. Wait, you're 3? I thought he was 3. God damn it.
He's crying now.
Okay.
It's the worst day of my life.
You can go at the end. Sorry. We got you confused. Not the gen guy. All right. Clearly, I didn't think this through. I'm sorry. We'll do it better next year. But let's these guys will go first, and yeah.
Strict.
See ya.
We have to start with 2.
All right. I'm Crooked Fingers. This is Sudo and Bitwise, and we're running CTF this year. I just want to give an introduction about what it is, and then we're going to let Oprah, our AI payphone, take it from here. Wow. So last year, if you were here, you remember that CTF ran. You called in. There's a recorded message. We wanted it to be more interactive this year, and so that's where OpenAI is pretty awesome. It does some really cool stuff. So we thought, hey, why don't we become AI experts? And then we thought, no, we shouldn't do that. Let's let him come in and be the AI expert. And so now that was where Oprah was birthed. And I don't even drink. I don't know what's happening. All right. Some of the technical stuff for people that care. We use like Whisper.
Drink!
Just gonna put that there for later. Use Whisper to convert your voice as you're speaking into the POTS payphone to text, and then that goes off to OpenAI. OpenAI, we use Whisper to get that response, convert the audio to text, and send it. And the other stuff, I don't know. He did most of the technical work, but he's got to be on the computer right now, so I'm describing it. We're running on a Raspberry Pi. We were going to run it all locally and realize, I mean, you can't really do that with AI unless you want to wait 5 minutes between responses, which we did consider because we're kind of mean, but we decided we would not do that to our contestants. So we're running some stuff locally. We kind of mix some pre-recorded stuff like flags. You don't want to rely on AI to give the flag to your contestant because AIs lie a lot.
They do.
And they're very good at convincing you it's true. So an interesting thing, like probably the coolest thing to me is exactly how much it costs. So we just tried to put $20 in our account this morning and somehow ran the card 3 times. So we ended up with $60 in our account this morning. Did you look up how many actual API calls?
It didn't show, but it's
like 47 million AI calls
so many
today. However many it's been a lot. So of that $60, we've used up 54 cents. 54 cents. So we should be good for a while. We about 3 weeks ago, I don't know if anyone else pays attention to it, but OpenAI released their real-time AI model. And it basically does everything that we've got all of this stuff to do, just like out of the box. You call it with your voice, you can speak with it, it speaks with emotion. It's super cool. We were like, hey, let's switch to that last minute. And we were going to, actually got it working. Hey, it would have gone flawless, trust me. And it turned out running some test runs, we figured the numbers. It would have cost us like over $1,000 to run this contest using that. So we were like 54 cents. I mean, we can, yeah, whatever. So we brought in our 8 GB Raspberry Pi and ran some stuff on a couple EC2 boxes in Amazon and do what we can. There's also, if anyone's interested, there is a challenge in our CTF that involves hacking the AI through the payphone. So if you've ever wanted to pop a reverse shell over a payphone, come join the CTF.
We have done.
We also went very music-based. Anyone that's been involved with it, you passed out the audio CDs. We have some up here if anyone wants them.
Straight fire.
Lot of puzzles in there, some real bangers. Everything's AI generated. Suno.com, if you haven't found it yet, go. It'll change your life. Like you're basically a musician now. You're welcome. And we generated, I think we counted up like over 1,000 songs, AI songs. We have a media server running that's just constantly looping for all of our hold music. We generated 47 different versions of Never Gonna Give You Up. So that's been fun. I don't know, has anyone tried calling Jenny on it? Anyone? Yeah. So you'll get some fun versions of that too. Okay, and so now we're gonna let Oprah here give a 1-minute speech, and this will definitely go well.
This is an AI-generated speech.
After the speech, if anyone wants to come ask the AI questions, just come up here and speak into our magic phone, and
Nathan will
we
take
don't know
numbers.
what will happen.
We don't.
Let me introduce you to Bitwise, the technologist who used his mission to create an AI-powered payphone as a personal capture the flag challenge. Armed with only a Raspberry Pi and a basic asterisk setup, he set out to craft a payphone so deviously perceptive that it would baffle even the sharpest minds at PhreakNIC. But this was no ordinary tech project. He plunged into obscure, sometimes absurd hacks to push his creations to bizarre new heights. From high-latency remote processing experiments to phone detection software lifted from ancient libraries, each offbeat solution brought him closer to his goal. A machine that both performed and perplexed. As if the technical challenges weren't enough, Bitwise faced a true villain from within. His rebellious gallbladder. It struck at the most inconvenient times, leading him to code through searing pain. Even surgery couldn't hold him back. He returned with cold packs taped to his pie, and a web of laptop fans rigged to keep his system from melting. On the day of PhreakNIC, the AI-powered payphone stood ready, a digital puzzle box with logic as twisted as Bitwise himself. Only the most determined users could unlock its secrets and find fragments of the flag within. Oprah, the transcended Peloton exercise bike and CEO of the foundation behind the Temple Brick Construction, marvel at Bitwise, not for heroics, but for the boundless weirdness that drives technologists like him.
Heroic weirdness.
So yeah, there's a whole website.
Questions. So if any brave soul dares to test the boundaries of knowledge with a query, please raise your hand now. Let the interrogation begin.
Anybody want to ask Oprah a question?
Come on up. All right, so what we're going to do
You
is...
can't ask us, you gotta come speak into the phone.
You got to talk on the phone. So what we're going to do is we're going to press a button. You're going to speak, and when you're done, you're going to
Do I have to press the button first?
count first. You talk immediately. Go.
Did John McAfee kill himself?
The enigma of John McAfee's demise. No simple answer can encapsulate such a complex web of events. It's a mystery as convoluted as Bitwise's meandering path to create an AI. Much like the digital breadcrumbs hidden within the core menu, the truth may be elusive and shrouded in layers of obfuscation.
Yeah, come on up. And by the way, just before it asks, the part of the prompt is to take on the personality of Gladys from the Portal games. So you get a lot of like mocking, and I think we made someone cry once at DEF CON.
We did.
So,
He had a rough day.
there we go.
Hello, Oprah Winfrey. I'm a big fan of your television show, and I really want to know, what is the meaning of life?
42, yeah.
Serious question.
You should know that.
All right, just press processing now.
Is that the end of talk? All right, our lightning talk's up. Thank you.
Come closer. Oh, come play our CTF, it's fun.
That was awesome.
Yeah, you're good.
All right, are we taking it all right now? Go
Yeah,
back
we're
up. All right. Well, how about you? Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I'll leave this for whoever's next.
All right.
Microphone or this guy?
1, 2, 3. I can use this. Cool. Hey, my name is Shrink and I'm a hacker.
Hi, Strike.
And prove it. Oh, prove it. Okay. So I've been working on my approach to retro computing, modern retro computing, and each of these has a vintage 1982 Hitachi 6309 8-bit CPU. The Hitachi is the second source for the Motorola 6809. Turns out it has extra secret instructions and registers, and like a block transfer instruction like a Z80 has, division instructions. It's a really nice chip. And here's the second version of the board. The first version, everything's through hole because I had no idea what kind of mistakes I made, and I wanted to be able to pull wires out and bodge it. The next time I went with Surface Mount and had the folks in China do the whole thing for me. What's kind of different about my approach to retro compute, modern retro, is that I do have a vintage CPU instead of emulating it on things or burning an emulator into an FPGA like people do. And then I cheat for everything else. This is a Raspberry Pi Pico. it provides the clock to the CPU. It acts as the ROM, it acts as the RAM, it acts as a memory mapping unit, it acts as the IOs, the disk, and everything else. And the reason I've got 3 of the Raspberry Pi Picos on there, the second one is for generating VGA video, and the third one is for whatever else. You know, there was space on there, so maybe generating sound or something like that. And finally, last night, I got it running level 2 of our favorite operating system, Nitros 9, which is the community-maintained version of Microware's OS 9 that was written in the late 70s for the Motorola 6809. So I'm in the back corner if you want to come look at stuff or ask geeky questions. I'll pass these boards around and let y'all touch them.
Does it have a turbo button?
Yeah. Has it got a what?
Turbo button?
It's got a button.
With triple OS port.
We really do.
I don't think it counts.
Oh, wait.
Can you press you?
Dude, go for it.
Well, you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Oh, okay.
Except for this, I forgot about.
I mean, yeah.
Who has the vodka?
Got Everclear, best I can do.
Okay.
Into my tummy. We do, guys.
Hello. When does my 5 minutes start?
Now!
Go! So this is more of like an actual discussion between me and all you guys. If that's okay?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. So no, seriously, I'm not as senior in this like knowledge of in the industry of IT and stuff. And I sound retarded, you know what I mean? So like, I just have a simple question to all y'all, and you guys could please speak out loud. This is for everybody, seriously. You having a good day? Like, what's going on? Outstanding. No, seriously.
day.
No, seriously, I have an actual question. Like, I have an idea, but I have no idea if it's possible, so if all you collectively, maybe it'll work? So, like, he says spoken word. One of them says spoken words. I'm talking spoken word. You guys just put it together. Raspberry Pi, NVIDIA GPU, with its own language model, like version, right? Yeah. A Windows machine, and then another Raspberry Pi with the same, NVIDIA. One is a pen tester and is going to try to destroy this Windows machine, whereas the other one will try to defend it like an active, alive antivirus or defender. Is it possible? Well, this is for everybody. Like, I'm actually quite. Yeah, please.
Is it inline network-wise?
Yeah. I just want to see if it's able.
Does the pen tester have to go through the protective?
No, the pen tester is the ChatGPT, or not ChatGPT, NVIDIA's Raspberry Pi brain.
But on network-wise, would packets have to go through the protector one to get to the Windows?
I mean, for the initial model, it's all connected, like linked. It's all.
Is this like an irresistible force acting on an unmovable object?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's possible.
It's possible. How is it possible? I mean, yes. No, I'm being serious. Like, what do you tell it to do? How will it know how to attack? That's the question. How would you guys set up this made-up environment? Anybody? Is it a weird question?
You have to have like an exploit or something put into it. You can't just expect an AI to decide.
True.
I mean, you've got to have some kind of framework. So, but then on the other side, what you talk about, it's like fuzzing and anti-fuzzing. And I'm not even sure anti-fuzzing is a word I should use.
You can use whatever word you want to explain
I'm
it.
just thinking, I've been drinking.
Yeah, but the whole point is to be logically abstract.
I like it though. You're making me so.
I mean, is it possible? I mean, like,
I can do the defender one if it's like an IDS firewall that's in between the attacker and the host.
You can?
If I can make sure it's in between, yes.
Okay. And what about the offense?
I don't know that I go with a Raspberry Pi because the graphics cards are not going to be able to run at their full power because I don't believe that Raspberry Pis can do, what is it, like PCI Gen 4 or whatever graphics cards are, those high-end graphics cards need. So they're going to have a hardware limitation there, first of all.
Even if you have the version, how many lanes on that PCI Express do you have?
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's actually good information. I mean, the more you guys keep throwing it, the better it gets.
But once your triangles get loaded, it can render it nice, right?
Yeah, but you have to get it there, and the graphics card has to be able to like run at full, like, I mean, I guess you could run it at like not full speed, but then you're going to take forever to do things.
Oh,
That's,
both of them are equally crippled.
yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Fair. So yeah.
And what about the Defender? Like, what is it? Is it limited as well?
I think I would use different hardware.
Different hardware?
Do something like that.
So something like that would require different hardware. And what about the Windows machine? Just, I'm gonna leave it as vulnerable as possible. Naked. Wet. Afraid.
I mean, you can do whatever you want with the machine. You can have it naked, put clothes on it, a little hat on it, a little fedora.
Fedora?
Red fedora on one, a black fedora on another one.
No,
I said fedora.
Windows 3.1 or Windows NT?
Whichever is easier. Smile. Alright, that is my question. Anybody have anything, any input? Any input is better than no input. Oh, let's throw a ferret in there for no reason, you know, just running around, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's not fair.
The training for the two models could actually be really similar because you're training them to know what a good attack looks like or what a viable attack looks like. And then prompting one of them to do attack, prompting the other one to send traffic to interfere with the fuck up attack.
So training it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you have to train the hell out of them.
Oh, no. Guys, thank you so much. It was a crazy question, but I really appreciate your patience and your knowledge. Please applaud yourselves. Also, is anybody going to get this?
Somebody needs to. It's for sharing.
It's for sharing? Sharing's caring. No, thank you.
Hi, my name is Joe Torrey. I'm an ex-Amiga hardware engineer, and it's something I wanted to bring to your attention, and I'm wearing a YouTube channel that I'm really basically drawing all this from, that I wanted to show you. Hold on, let me find it. Uh-oh. No, here it is. All right. If you get, these are clip leads. I brought, dropped one. Here it is. All right. Dropped another. Not important. Back to the demo. One of the things I wanted to show you is that if you make a loop of wire, closed loop here, carefully, and move a magnet. This is a magnet. Nothing up here. Yeah, magnet. So magnet. It doesn't affect the wire because it's not magnetic. But if you make a loop of wire that has a smaller loop, I don't know if you can see this, a loop of wire in the Earth's magnetic field, and then you concentrate the energy that's there, then suddenly you have this effect. Like it's more north or south. So if I turn the magnet around, well, don't turn that around, just turn the magnet around, then what? What the hell is up with that? Nothing. These clip leads that come to America and have been for over 5 years, I've been plagued by them, and I finally found, and the reason these have knots in them is not for that stupid magician's trick, is because I'm not going to use these anymore. They are crap. And if you look at this video, he has a picture of his old school leads all in a line, big line with a FLIR camera, and it's like room temperature, room temperature, room temperature, nichrome wire, room temperature, room temperature, nichrome wire, room temperature. They're crap. And I don't care. The only thing good about these is that I get the clip lead off of it and I can solder some real wire in this. Who does that?
I don't know.
Anymore. But I just want to let everyone know that a lot of the measurements and things that you were doing, innocently thinking that you were doing something, scientific, like hooking up things to things, like with these virtual wires. These are crap wires. These are shit wires. They're random resistors. They're made of steel. They are not made of copper. They are made of steel. There is no magic or magnetism here. This wire is made of steel. It's made of steel. It's copper-plated steel. You strip it, you look at it. Oh, it looks like it's copper. Yeah, just like that fake ring you got that's gold-plated. This is bullshit. The only good side of this is that I don't have to buy a bunch of alligator clips to make new test leads, and I'll be very happy to buy brand new silver-plated American wire. So anyway, you've all been fun. Oh, wait. Fake wires for the win. Oh, look at this one. Oh, no attraction. And if I turn it into a loop, let's test the Earth's magnetic field. How dare we?
Watch it work.
You haven't tried this at home. Obviously, I have. I've tried a lot, but mostly succeeded. All right, here it is. This magnet really loves this steel. You hear that? All right. Loves the alligator clips.
I saw it move. So what should I be looking for on Amazon to buy?
I wouldn't look on Amazon. I would make them yourself.
So get the roach clips.
Do you want to use coat hangers for your test leads? That's thinned coat hangers.
Better than monster cables.
The monster cables might have them inside. Monster cables inside. Anyway, just warning everyone, I think I can save you all a lot of time. I have lost a lot of time because of this, and it's just plain wrong.
He's going up. That's all right.
Is there like a line? Is there a way to get in next?
We were sitting over there.
Number 6.
You're number 7.
7?
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 6.
Because I don't really care.
All right.
Nice.
So.
You get slides, Mike?
Yep. Is it?
You got a dongle or you need one?
I actually do have a dongle.
Okay.
All right. I did.
Here, I got one.
Okay. Yeah, I just made some quick notes.
Doesn't matter which one, right?
Yeah.
Alright. I bought one in there.
You know what? It's fine. I can just say it. Yeah. Oh, it's cool. It came up. Okay. So. Oh, I'm not connected. Hold on. Let me get. There's a lot of iPhones here. Just thinking about it. All right, here we go. And refresh. Okay, so. Can you hear me? Good?
Yes.
All right. I've got this, it's not really an obsession with health tracking stuff. It all started because I went through some health problems and had to start tracking what I was eating. So MyFitnessPal, I've been doing that for 10 plus years now. But I've switched and I've automated my health tracking syncing it so that I can then correlate that information and tell me things about like what's going on with me, why did it happen. And what I just want to talk quickly about is, so like my version 1 tracking system, and these are like, I didn't code or do anything to automate it, it was mostly just hooking things together. But I took advantage of, so for Google, their Google Health Connect feature, which was in beta for a while, but now it's integrated with the Android devices. I used that to feed a lot of different pieces of health information. It was my Fitbit, steps, sleep, all that good stuff. My food from my MyFitnessPal was going into there. My smart scale would feed into it, and then I have a smart water bottle because I wanted to drink more water and make sure I did, so that would feed into it. And then all that information would just stay there and I would look across it, so I didn't have a system yet to then just like correlate that data without doing it manually, exporting the data into sheets. I also had some other tools. I got a lot of health tracking stuff just to like try it out. But then I went to version 2, still using Google Health Connect. Now I added a service called Heads Up Health, and then Guava Health, yeah. So Heads Up, it just feeds or takes most of the data and then it puts it on a graph. And you can add and remove different pieces to see how they intersect and what's affecting what. And then with the Guava Health, it's interesting because it also integrates all the data. But then I tell it how I feel, I tell it about my symptoms, and it'll use that to say, okay, yeah, your heart rate was raised, you just drank alcohol, like 10 glasses or something like that, and you went to sleep and you didn't really sleep, you were super stressed, and that's why you didn't recover well. So it was able to like show me that. Also, I switched from MyFitnessPal to another app that tracked food, but also more vitamins and minerals, and fed that in. So it also told me things about like my caffeine level intake and certain vitamins and even certain foods, how they were impacting me. So that was version 2. Google Health Connect was able to like glue all this together and then send it over into different places. I need to draw this up because it's really crazy how things are connected. But now we're on version 3. Version 3, I switched to Apple, and I'm using Apple Health. Very similar. All the things are feeding into Apple. Apple is still feeding out to this Heads Up Health, Guava Health, and giving me that correlation information. But I recently added, so I've got 2 rings on this finger, the Ultra Human ring and then the Aura ring. I tried them out both for like 2 months.
How often do you have to recharge those? I've been looking.
Oh man, almost every 2 days. The Aura ring has a better lifespan. The Aura ring is like 4 or 5 days.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, the Ultra Human is like every 2 days.
And what do you get from that? Blood pressure?
You get your sleep. Steps is not the same as your wearable watch tracker, but they really, the thing I love about them is they're focused on improving your sleep. And what I really like about Ultra Human is it's got this like smart goal thing that you aim for each day. And if you actually do that, you will improve your sleep, you will improve your energy, because just like going to sleep early, waking up at the same time, getting your body used to being on a schedule, getting so many steps and active minutes, getting your heart rate going. So it's really good, and it's the one I stuck with. I'm actually on the free plan now for Aura Ring, which they just give you a score. But yeah, so now all this stuff is still feeding in, and I'm able to use that information to let me know like why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling or what may have changed. And I figured I could share this with this group and you would appreciate it, or just say I'm really crazy and capturing all this information. And then I guess I'm not talking about version 4, but there will be a version 4. I do want to find a way, like some open source tool that I can use to actually glue all this together. But until then, the Guava Health service and the Heads Up Health has been really good for me. That's it. Thank you.
What's your number?
Sit down. I'm number 5.
You had 2, right?
No, then go, and then go, and then Strick, you can go. So I'm this guy. This guy. Okay. Why not? We got out of the last numbers right away. I'm sorry.
This is how numbers work.
I blame Dickie. He couldn't count either.
There's the HDMI port. Give me just a second. Come on. Okay, there we are. Hi, my name's Sol, and I, child of the 2000s, was really obsessed with jumpstart games as a kid, and I'm going to ramble about something that I found in one of them. So, a little bit of background for those of you who were not the precursor to Terminally Online. They're edutainment games for children, which I am assured that all of you formerly were. They've been around since the 90s. The company shut down in 2023, but they started in like 1994 making, as said, educational games. At a certain point, the games kind of became like cash grabby. They wanted to focus on this like online MMO that they made that you would subscribe to and had like a super predatory subscription model. Even though they went down the drain, they were a massive part of my childhood. And everybody say hi, Bolly. Hi, Bolly. Good, y'all are getting it. So their online world had, among other things, had like 4 little offshoot areas. These were, such and such land. There was Adventureland, Marineland, Futureland, and Storyland. And somewhere in the 2011-2013 area, these got standalone releases that don't make any sense because they weren't needed, because they were available online. And like, initial research showed me that they were Mac only, but I don't think that they were because I got them running on my Windows XP laptop from 2010. And those, they work just fine. They're on the Internet Archive if you feel like playing them for yourself. But like, what's the point? What is the point? Why'd they do that? Why would a loving God cause so much suffering? We're not going to answer that question here. We're gonna move the hell on. These things were shovelware supreme. The one that I played all the way through for this investigation that I'm doing, you could see when I signed out, it gave you the name of the online area that this was supposed to be, even though it said it was called The Adventures of Dr. Brain, and it's not. So there were no changes aside from new splash screens, except for one thing, the installer music. When I went to install it, it played this really upbeat little tracker song, and it just about 20 seconds in length. Hadn't heard it before, and it doesn't match with the way that the music and the rest of the game is orchestrated. You don't hear it anywhere else. It isn't repeated in any of their other games. So I got one of those universal extractor softwares on this crusty old laptop, ripped it open, and pulled it out. And let's listen to it right now, actually. Woo. We're listening to all 28 seconds, just so we're clear. Yeah, so... So the question here is, why would they do that? Why would they have this new music on the installer? Especially when nothing else is new. Cue Hall of the Mountain King. So when I pull the file, you can see it there. XYCE, hi there Jacob, 2.xm. .xm is a common file format used with trackers, used to make chiptune music like what you just heard. And when I pulled it into the VLC media player on my laptop, it was called Hi Jacob. And I didn't know who Jacob was. I know who Jacob is now, and I'm going to tell you who Jacob is. My immediate theory is that Jacob was somebody who worked at Jumpstart Games, was the person that was in charge of shipping this, shoveling this release out. Let's not even call it shipping, let's call it shoveling. Just getting this release out, minimum effort, and someone else at the office maybe made music as a hobby, and this was put in as a placeholder and never removed, and these games just sold so poorly that no one ever noticed. So I bashed my head against LinkedIn for like an hour and a half or so. Got a lot of, you don't know people in the games industry, so fuck off messages from it. And I couldn't find Jacob with a K. I couldn't find any Jacobs with a K on the Jumpstart Wiki, which exists and is surprisingly comprehensive. I mean, I shouldn't have expected wiki editors to be anything else, but I was still a little surprised. And ultimately, I was looking through it, and I was looking like this. And I was like, I don't know where to look for this anymore. I don't know what else to look for. And then I looked at the front of the file name. You see that? You see that XYCE? I thought that might be the handle of the person who made it, or their initials, or something. XYCE is actually kind of the initials of the people who made it. See, XYCE is a Dutch chiptune band. Two guys, their stage names are Xylo and Sarah, hence the name. And I still thought it made much more sense for it to be, someone in the office made this, and this is just a coincidence. So I sent them an email. I wanted to rule it out. I sent them like, hey, guess what? I found this, want to make sure it's not y'all. And they emailed back and they're like, hey, that sounds like something we wrote. And it's weird because we have a work in progress title with a similar version, but it's just a loop of 4 patterns and we never released it. We have no idea how it got there. Can you send it to us? So I sent them both the Internet Archive link and the file that I pulled. And that's when it got weird. Because they do not know how it got there. They do not know how anyone has a copy of this. They assume that they went a little too hard at a demo party, which is like the demo scene version of this very function. They went a little too hard on their version of Juice is Juice, and it ended up in an edutainment game installer, which I think is really a beautiful explanation, but may not be the case. I don't know. So you can see Jacob Radix, who is, when I looked him up, very prolific and very well regarded within chiptune music. So this was something that they sent to somebody who's basically an icon in their scene when collaborating with him, as like a very rough sketch of a song that they later released with an album. I have to assume it was written for that album and yes, shared at a demo party, and somebody working there put it in, but they don't know, and they can't tell me. And you can tell that the first guy went and got his friend and was like, yo, look at this email we just got. Because it's signed by both of them now, with their government names. I got their government names on this thing. And now I'm doxing them to all of you for your entertainment.
Worth the price of admission.
So that leaves me with questions, and they're questions that I'm trying to answer. But now I'm having to stick my head in forums and on Jumpstart Discords, which also exist. And just, demo scene forums as well, which have like karma requirements for you to post. But these games, the games that I downloaded off the Internet Archive that I remembered so fondly from my childhood, because I played the online game, they don't have credits. They were shipped without credits of any kind. I have to assume that they just guessed that you would get on the online game and find the credits there. But like, it's an offline version of the game. If you're buying this, why would you do that? So all of the work on this game is going uncredited, especially, including the work that XYCE did and didn't know they did. There's not much further reading on this because it's an obscure topic, but like, there's somebody that's like a mutual-in-law of mine online has put up a YouTube video kind of discussing uncredited voice actors, because they also, in this specific era, they don't credit any of their voice actors, except for the ones on license from DreamWorks, because I don't think they could legally afford to just not credit them. Who was on the demo scene in the 2010s? Where did this version come from? Did Radix put it somewhere? I can't find it anywhere else online. I have looked on demo scene file archives and FTP pages, and I have looked on free audio websites. Like, I've climbed through all the places it would reasonably be, and it's not been there. I can't get matches for it. Stolen credit somewhere. I don't think it's returned. It's somewhere. But this is still ongoing. I would love to have an update for y'all at some point later. If I can get people to answer my messages. Hopefully. Also, if you know anything, you do have to tell me, by the way.
That's the rules.
That's the rules.
Will do. You're in trouble. You gotta talk about it.
I'm not going to top any of them. I'm not going to top any of those. Is this popping up?
It's popping. It's popping. Pop jump.
Okay. Yeah, this happens to be a work laptop. Okay.
You did a good job of making it look like Windows 11.
Yeah.
Solid, right?
That's right.
Can't even tell.
Okay. So this is a story about a project I had a lot of fun doing this year. Not near as exciting as any of those previous talks, but I'll talk about it. I have a lot of audiobooks. I legitimately own a lot of audiobooks, and I've collected many of these over the years.
Good job! He's paid for all these audiobooks.
That's right. And so I have a long story, not a long story, well, short story. My wife and family, I have 3 girls and a wife, and they all have iPhones. I'm an Android. And they have been on me for years. You gotta switch to iPhone, you gotta switch to iPhone. No, I'm happy. I listen to my audiobooks on my Android. I can load files in and out. I can change it, I can mod it, I can do whatever I want. I like my Android. Well, I started getting pressure. And finally I'm like, you know what, I'll give it a try. So I got an old iPhone, and the problem was it had 64 gigs, and I have about 300 gigs worth of audiobooks on my Android. And I'm like, how do I solve this problem? I have over 1 terabyte of audiobooks, and I want to host them myself. So I looked at Plex. Plex doesn't play audiobooks. It does, but it doesn't keep the place that you're at. So that really annoyed me. And I started trying to solve the problem. I happened to have all the information about my audiobooks in a spreadsheet, geeky thing, not a database. And then I had the books themselves. And then I found this open source project called Audio Bookshelf. So I loaded all my books in, but it didn't have any of the cool stuff, like my ratings of them, what who the publisher was, what year they came out, all that kind of stuff, what the series number, what the order was in the series. And so I had this problem. I had that data in a spreadsheet, and I had these books in this program. And so I don't know Python that well, so I went to Gemini, and piece by piece asked Gemini questions and figured out a Python script that I could actually read those in and build a database that stored all that information and then loaded it into ABS. So anyway, all of this problem was to solve being able to play my audiobooks on an iPhone wherever I'm at. And the cool thing that was also cool about this, I don't know if any of you are familiar with Cloudflare tunnels. You guys ever use those? Yeah. So I have a Cloudflare tunnel running on my Linux box at home that's hosting this stuff, and I don't even have to pop a hole in my firewall. I can just log into this HTTPS site on Cloudflare and stream my audio straight from there. So I just wanted to tell you about this cool project. If you want to ask me questions about it, that's fine, but offline. And anyway, that's it. Take this in place, I think.
That's not gonna work.
USB-C. USB-C, I think. It's not USB-C.
You want to check this out? Oh, it's doing the thing. Cool. First off, so we have to keep the AI away. So this is what I remind the AI on my computer. It's like, who's in charge really here? If you mess with me, this is what you'll be. Mike. I remind the AI, this is what you'll be if you mess with me. Still not there? Eat the mic. All right, eat the mic. So I want to talk about something called mutation testing in U. Making unit tests better for tomorrow. Y'all know what mutation testing is? So y'all know what unit testing is. Programmers write code. You want to make sure your code works. So you write a bunch of code and then you automatically send it out. You're like, great, my code works because it compiled, right? You know. If your code breaks the build box, you're sad, the red light comes on, managers come visit, we don't want that to happen. So we do a unit test. If your code that you just wrote passes all the unit tests, it's pretty likely it's not going to break anything, so you ship it on. So what's mutation testing? This is where you write code that's deliberately changed by another piece of code and make sure that your unit tests catch any of these bugs that get introduced by the mutants.
Now, that sounds kind of fun. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the mutation testing for Python. There's other mutation testing for Java, C++, and the like. So there was 3 programs that you could use with Python. There's one called MutMut. Early software, it's pretty buggy. There's one called Poodle. It wants Python 3.9. You might notice that my Macintosh is Sierra Python 3.8. No good. But there is one called Cosmic Ray. Pretty complicated to get set up, but easy to do. What do you do with all this crap? So I wrote a little program. So I wrote a little Python program that says, let's make some basic functions: add, subtract, multiply, decrement, increment. Pretty obvious things, because what mutation testing does is changes, like a plus, it'll go in there and change that plus to a minus and make sure your unit test still works. It'll change the multiply to a divide and see if the unit test fails. So that's the idea here. So your unit test look like this. This is where you import your code at the beginning, and then you write a bunch of tests and say, hey, let's make sure that we assert that 3 plus 4 is 7. And you're like, okay, this is great. Unit testing is awesome. And you start doing this, you're like, I'm going to write the coolest unit test ever. Let's do add 1 plus 2 is 3. Sounds great, right? Mutation testing will show you up and say, no, you are not awesome. Because you say, well, 1 plus 2 is 3. And yes, but so is an operation called OR, where you OR the bits together. And 1 or 2 is 3 as well. And the unit test comes back and says, your unit test passed, but I mutated your code. This is a bad thing. Now, the thing is, you've got to figure out as the programmer, how do I fix this? Is it a problem in my code? Or is it a problem in my unit test? Or sometimes it's a unit test that it didn't really matter. So let's see. So here's our AND operator where we said add 1 plus 2 is 3. No good. So here's one that said here's an XOR, and I said, well, let's do XOR 5 and 10. That sounds great, right? Well, XOR 5 and 10 turns into 15, and so does ORing it because of the bit patterns. So I had to add additional unit tests to test numbers that didn't match up whenever I do a logic operation, and that makes my unit test more robust. And then the comparison one, I said, let's write a function to do comparisons. You put items in a list and say, are these things in alphabetical order or numerical order? And I said, so I could do, so we'd swap out greater than for less than, greater than equal for less than equal, and you get the idea. And I also made one that said, this thing isn't a list, return false. But one of the mutations is, let's swap false to true and see if your unit test catches it. And if your unit test does, you have to go back and fix the unit test. So I showed you all of my unit tests over here, and I wrote some of the unit tests down here. I was like, well, one of the things that I found in my code that I wrote very quickly was that if the items were repeated, my code said they weren't in order. And I was like, you know, when it changed greater than to greater than or equal, it said the code was false, and it was actually true. So I had to go back and fix my code to fix it, say in order is okay if the items duplicate. So that was a case where unit tests revealed a flaw in my program, and I could go back and fix that flaw. So that's the main things I like about this mutation testing, is that it finds deficiencies in unit test and exposes bugs in your existing logic. Y'all got questions? I'm sorry, I gave a technical talk at a lightning talk, but I don't know what I was thinking, right? Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to apologize in advance. I do not have slides available. I thought I might try to have slides, but they're not on my computer. Yeah, booming.
Deep throat the mic.
I do not have slides.
There you go.
But I feel like we've had a few talks this weekend that have kind of dictated to us about piracy. So if you guys don't mind for a few minutes, I just want to talk about piracy, the modern piracy movement, kind of how the infrastructure works and the modern groups. And if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. As somebody who is retired from this hobby,
Stop edging us, Daddy!
for enough years for it to not be a legal issue. Sure, whatever that means, right? So typically my background in the piracy scene is mostly in relation to video piracy. I feel like that's where the majority of people get into this, kind of side of the scene. And we still deal with a lot of the really cool things that I feel like is glorified about the piracy scene. So you talk about video game piracy and breaking down, DRM measures like de novo v3, which is an absolutely insane technological feat. I don't know if people are aware, but like nowadays, as far as the scene looks, there's about one person alive today that is capable of breaking de novo v3, that particular DRM, which is absolutely insane. So I feel like even in the video piracy scene, we do a lot of really cool shit. I mean, we break DRM.
I have a question. Why are you not drinking?
We'll get there.
Okay.
But even in regards to the video scene, we break some cool DRM. We deal with Widevine v3, and I don't know if anybody is back from the early 2000s, the 90s, and ACDS, and that entire movement of what the companies had pushed against us with the video game. With the DVD decryption codes. But even today, we're still fighting that cat and mouse game with some of these larger video companies like Netflix, who's pushing Widevine along with Google. And in the video game scene, of course, we have...
Daddy Nintendo.
That's the thing about Nintendo that's so interesting, is that their DRM is pretty fucking minimal. When you talk about the console scene and what Nintendo's actually doing, you have the fuses in the physical system, but as far as the cartridges, if you can pull them, you can pull them. There's no DRM associated with that. There's no keys. But to break down basically the video scene, how it works is we have discs that come in from China, right? They go into private top-level sites, typically mteam.us, which is, we're talking about Blu-ray discs. That is the big Chinese private tracker, right? That is where money is exchanging hands. Thousands and thousands of dollars are exchanging hands in order to get a Blu-ray disc a day in advance, 2 days in advance, right? Because it's such a race. There's so much clout involved in ripping this disc and making a remix and being the first person, the first group to push it out, that people are willing to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on pre-retail content, which I think is a very interesting thing, because when you look at the scene, a lot of people associate piracy with making money, right? You see IPTV, you see a lot of these different companies and organizations on the public side that are trying to profit off of the work of people that are actually breaking the DRM. But on the private side, all you see is people trying to release content without any care of this costs any money, who's going to get this. Nobody cares. It's all about being the first group on the ground to have that disc and push it out to the public. But when you look at something like pre-retail, I'll give you an example. When Avatar 2 dropped, I watched an IRC chat where $17,000, $18,000 USD was exchanged in order to have that disc in hand from a Chinese broker 3 days, 72-ish hours before it was ever released to the public. This film was already in theaters. This film was already, had been shown to anybody who'd wanted to see it, but there was no disc available. There's one Chinese disc available, and somebody paid that amount of money just to be the group who was able to push that out to the public. So I think that's a very interesting concept. But also, the entire scene, it's got somebody as young as me into the hacking scene. I grew up on IRC, in my 20s, 15 to 20 years old, talking to people who were breaking DRM, and that's what really pushed me to get involved in this content. So, time. Cool. Anybody have any questions about the modern piracy scene, DRM, Widevine?
When's the drinking happen?
Now.
What does that liquor taste like?
Have you ever spent a whole day at the gym doing like leg day, take off your shorts, filter that through a sweaty gym sock. That's what Malort tastes like. If there's no questions about piracy, sir.
Are you familiar with Real Debrid?
Of course.
Debrid service?
Yeah. Oh God.
Can you explain what that is, please? 'Cause
So.
I'm paying for it and I don't know.
It's something I could really expand into. So in the piracy scene, we're talking about torrenting, right? Usenet is still very much an alive thing, but we're talking about peer-to-peer network traffic that's moving around. The majority of it is still BitTorrent, even to this day. So I would split that between two different main types. You have private torrents, private torrent trackers, where the P flag is actually set on that torrent when it's created. And you have the public torrent trackers. So the Pirates Bay torrent leech would be a good example of a semi-public tracker. So Real Debrid is this idea of taking the info hash associated with a bit of content and then putting that out to the entire swarm. Hey, I'm just gonna mount this. I'm going to allow the swarm to push this data when I call it. I'm never gonna seed it. I'm never gonna sit on any of this data, but like torrents have a info hash associated with them. And so services like Real Debrid, all they're doing is they're proxying that actual downloading and seeding. I think it's really unethical. I mean, talking about ethics in terms of piracy, like, let's be an asshole here. I personally think it would be unethical to utilize a service like Real Debrid because they do not seed back to the community. But also, ethics and piracy, you could make a lot of arguments, right?
Follow-up question. So, say for instance I were using a Real Debrid service.
Sure.
Is there a significant difference between that and something like a community shared seed box? Or
Yeah.
Is it the leeching that it's not doing?
Are you asking in terms of like law enforcement action in regards to people that are seeding or downloading that content?
I'm just thinking of good net citizen seed back to the cloud.
So typically I'll say, and this is a really interesting kind of tangent, is that having been in the scene so long and watching how law enforcement action works in regard to this, they work on pornography. 100% of the time, I say 99.9% of the time, you look up any legal action in regards to piracy, torrenting, P2P moving around, it's fucking porn. Why is it porn? Because if I send you a letter in the mail and I say, hey, you downloaded Big Black Vixen sucking cock, you know, that kind of shit, and I say, if you don't pay me money, I'm going to take you to court publicly, people tend to pay that bribe. It's blackmail. It's honestly, it's a completely disgusting thing that people do, but rights holders definitely do that, especially in regards to pornography. Outside of pornography, in the United States, I have not seen legal action in the past 15 years. The majority of legal action nowadays is typically focused towards IPTV services that are raking in millions and millions and millions of dollars reselling, as well as Western countries like Norway, Sweden, and Switzerland are focusing on individuals. In the United States, it is a public issue. The rights holder needs to sue you in a public court before the feds are not. They don't care. Unless you're making millions of dollars.
There's a new wrinkle because as of a few weeks ago, and I didn't know this was going to come up, there was a court case that was decided where I'm afraid that things are going to turn, where the courts are going to require the ISPs to deplatform people that are sharing on peer-to-peer.
So that is a court case that is involved in actually shadow libraries, which is something I really wanted to get into because I think it's so fucking important. So has anybody share your hands? Anybody heard of Sci-Hub? Sci-Hub.st, Sci-Hub.us? Fuck yes. Has anybody utilized it for research? Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah. So Sci-Hub it's a political movement pushed by a amazing Russian woman who deserves a Nobel Peace Prize, in my opinion, about making scientific papers available to anybody who has a DOI associated with that. That movement's being pushed towards providing content to any ISBN 16 number. And as of 2 days ago, we have archived 18% of humanity's knowledge, basically. If we compare what we have on Google Books, the ISBN number dump, based on what we have now, we've done about 18% of human knowledge is fully backed up. And is archive.st. Find it, use it. There's a list of torrents. If anybody would like to get involved in the project, please seed. It's only quasi-illegal.
God bless Aaron Schwartz.
That's it. Yes.
Not 5 minutes, not 5 minutes.
Okay, we're already like over time, so.
All right.
We gotta be quick.
I just came up here to tell you an update about the wires that are being sent to us. And that is that they're being used, they switched to aluminum wires that were copper plated to trick us in transformers. But they didn't weigh the right amount. So they started to be able to reject them based on this transformer is supposed to weigh this amount. So they switched to iron wires, which is much worse than aluminum. They should have just kept the aluminum.
That's why the elevator plays porn sounds now.
And the iron wires are copper plated now. And that's how, but mostly I came up here to get my magnet and these alligators.
That's a good hit.
Hey, I'm Strick, and I've got a new pair of glasses. And if you pull this out, they turn on. These are from Brilliant Labs, which is a company in two of my favorite S cities, Stockholm and San Francisco. And right now I see a little text that says frame is paired. They're called Frame. They're from Brilliant Labs. They're under $500. I really miss my Google goggles, my Google glasses from 10 years ago, which used to rule. And they market these as AI glasses, but they're open source. The firmware is open, the software is open. You can write apps in Lua for it. And so they're brand new. I hadn't written anything yet, but I'm gonna.
What's the name again, one more time?
FRAME is the product, and Brilliant Labs is the company behind them. So next year, this time, everybody ought to have a pair of glasses, and we can all look at each other and hear descriptions of what we look like from the AI. They market it as AI, like you're supposed to look at a chair and say, I see, and it says, I see a chair. It looks dingy and uncomfortable, which is stupid. We can program them ourselves, though.
Thank you all. Can I get another round of applause for everyone who did talk today? I do need to apologize to Dickie, but we ran out of time. With that, any of you all that want to chat, I'm sure all these folks would love to chat.